Yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait for people to show up.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying.
Where'd my little pointer go? You see a green ruler? There it is. Ah. Mm, mm.
Well, everybody will find us sooner or later. Hi, Shogun.
Hello, Shogun. My guess is that
Hi, Alan. I see you too. Yeah, I'm alone up here tonight. Professor Hardrock is laying on the floor with a ruler to do whatever. Okay? We have no idea what he's going to do. In case you missed the note on the issue, testicle jokes are absolutely allowed. They will not be reported, but they will be graded. So I strongly encourage everybody. Yes, the ball busting can begin again, Arizona Prepper. I encourage everybody to put your best testicular humor in the comments and rate each other.
oh,
Hi, Shani. At any rate, very short update on him. We are here tonight to hold a wake and mourn the passing of Professor Hardrock's right testicle. It has died and become a zombie and is causing him intense pain right now. So he's laying on the floor. He's going to do the whole live stream from down there. I will read your questions to him and he will yell them from the floor. But wave a hand up here so they can see you're actually alive. Oh, your hand's not in the camera.
not
There
the
we
camera?
go.
Okay, how about now?
Now it's in the camera.
Is it still in the camera?
Yes.
Okay.
And as for me, I am working my reward apps like crazy and racking up points because I'm going to be buying some more silver. Okay, Chris wants to know who's got the best recipes for Rocky Mountain oysters. Well, I have heard they are excellent when they are marinated in chipotle lime marinade and then sliced and very lightly grilled. Ah, you've got the nickname Lefty for a reason, huh, Shogun? Why is it that men seem to lose their right testicle? I mean, we all know left-handed, left anything is better than right anything anyway when it comes to body parts.
Because we lead with our right.
Oh, really, Dirty Goat? You like them raw, huh? Dirty Goat likes raw ones.
They can have
them. Chris, he's not dinner tomorrow night because he hasn't raised his life insurance. As it stands, with inflation going the way it's going, I could probably buy a cup of coffee at this point. Well, let me put it this way. There are times, Shiny, when half a man is better than no man at all. I would know, okay? Oh, there you go. So, oh, Arizona Prepper says you're now half the man he is. Mexicans prevail again. Hi, this old mine. And Dirty Goat, I absolutely love gold for some things, but I have always been a silver bug more than a gold bug because it is so undervalued. The ratio between gold and silver is way off here, you know? Alan, some of the best things happen on floors. Don't ask me how I know this.
Oh, this is not one of them.
Yeah, that is not one of them. Hi, Lars.
Can everyone hear me okay down here?
If you can hear the professor say, yep, we can hear you. Otherwise, I'll tell him to yell louder.
Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Ooh, Adam, good luck on that chemistry 2 test.
We got a sound check, little one?
Yeah, Roberts says he can hear you. Can you run a snorkel to him or maybe a tin can on a wire? Sounds good. Oh, Dion says, louder. Balls, said the queen. If I had 2, I'd be king. The king laughed because he had 2.
Oh, anyhow.
David can hear you too. And Chris says, testes, 1, 2.
Ooh, okay, I'll give him a 7 on that one.
Chris, you get a 7 on that one.
He's leading.
Well, Arizona Prepper is automatically getting discounted 5 points no matter what he says because, well, after all, who he is,
I think he's the one who bribed the doctor.
Lauren says
Maybe
5 by 5. Hi, Lauren. Thank you again for rescuing him from those morons in Great Falls. I would not send a dog to that hospital, okay? I wouldn't send my enemy's dog to that hospital.
Your enemy is a different story.
Roberts says, I think a 2-inch dredge tube down to the bedrock he's on, and we can suck up some golden nuggets into the microphone. Well, Arizona Prepper, because of who you is, you automatically get 5 points deducted. Now, realistically, that is because we just don't like you sometimes. But you can always fool yourself by saying it's because you are so superior we have to grade on a curve around here, okay? Oh, Parrish, you know I am just busting your balls because I feel like it.
And you can't.
Oh, and also, I am racking up crypto again. I found some cool apps and I'm collecting some good crypto playing games and other cool apps where I've already earned $30 in Amazon gift cards. Score.
Anyhow.
So, on to mining discussion.
First of all, with respect to my physical condition, I'm going to the doctor tomorrow to get the offending tissue removed.
The zombie ball. Yeah. Okay, let's be serious here. It's a zombie ball.
It's about that big right now, folks.
They can't see your hand. It's about that big. Yeah. Let me put it this way. I have seen champion bulls, Grand Reserve champion bulls that have smaller testicles than this. It is truly frightening. I'm convinced it's going to blow up.
Anyhow, should be healing up pretty quick from that. Just to let you know how I'm doing from the hernia surgery. Hopefully you should be able to see this. No, it didn't show on the camera at all. He can get up and everything with no problem from the hernia surgery, no bruising, no real swelling or anything. The only thing that happened to him was this. And Chris says, make sure you mark the right side. I told you last time, do not remove. That's not bad. Oh, come on, David. If I didn't yank his chain, he'd have an ego bigger than all of Helena, Montana, okay? I'm his wife. I'm allowed to yank his chain now and then. Anyhow. And I yank Arizona Prepper's chain just because I like to. He is fun to play word games with. Oh, we've known him for years. We have known him like a zillion years. Amazing person. Anyhow, so obviously I haven't had much chance to do any testing this weekend or this week. Oh, no problem, David. Do you want to angle that camera down a little bit, maybe? Might help a little. There you go. Okay. So haven't got much new data there, but another thing that happened was the heating coil on the kiln has suffered some further damage. So I thought I'd explain how it's built, why we think it got damaged, and what we're planning to do to make it better than it was when it came from the factory. Chris says you're just a little testy tonight, huh? Yes, I am. You got a problem with that? Yeah, actually, a mirror would be good. Hi, Walt. Professor Hardrock's on the floor because his ball decided to become zombified. He has to have it removed tomorrow. So, apparently standing up makes it extraordinarily painful. Yeah, laying down, it's virtually no pain at all. He has zombie ball disease. That's what this is. Anyhow, here's like a front view of the kiln. And it's got a stainless steel sheathing for the exterior. Then it's lined with this ceramic foam stuff. And on the top and each side, there's an additional strip roughly ½ inch thick that goes up. Yeah, I think it is a gravity thing, Alan. But it's about 6-inch opening front to back, and that strip is like 4 inches. So that leaves a gap front and back. What they do, they have the wire. Hi, Jeff. Comes in from outside through the bottom,
and it's coiled up over the top, comes down, goes back along the bottom, and then does a similar arch on the far side and comes back out. Now, when I'm doing cupelling, I'll have this door open, and that element is basically on continuously. So this front arch is running at a cooler temperature than the rear arch because this arch is getting cooled from the outside air that's coming in through the cracked door.
Translation, now, leaving the door open is probably not a good idea.
Well, no, you got to make some changes. So anyhow, this coil is held on. Basically, there's a staple here, a staple at the top corner, staple in the middle top, staple at the top corner, staple down here. So these parts here can sag this way, but what happened on the back arch in that corner was it literally stretched.
Cool, Johnny. We don't keep mirrors around. You see, I'm allergic to them. I'm also generally allergic to cameras. They give me hives.
So it tended to pile up on the bottom here. It stretched down and piled up. I didn't want to mess with it because once it's been used for a bit, it's probably going to get brittle or whatever. So I wanted to get a spare element in it before I tried doing anything.
Chris put in a link to temcoindustrial.com.
Yep, I saw that. Now, at this point in the back corner, there was at least a half a dozen or more coils piled up on top of each other.
Hi, Ed. And yes, he's laying down on the job today. That's how much he loves y'all, you know. But we're all here having a wake for the zombie ball that is being removed tomorrow.
So apparently what happened was in the latest run, these actually shorted out. They were running before, but they shorted out and overheated the rest of the coil. And so it's, according to Lauren, sagging everywhere at the moment.
Chuck, you are welcome to ship him as much rocks as you like.
But in my opinion, this is a bit of a weakness with this kiln as it comes from the factory, but it's easily fixed. If instead of just those 3
Hi, Wayne.
staples at the top, if you put staples along the sides and
Patrick, hi.
Extra staples at the top to give those coils more support, then I don't think it would have failed at all.
Roberts, apparently, yes. If Bear was willing to hold out for 3 or 4 weeks with the zombie ball growing and growing until it decides to start shrinking and stop hurting like hell, it would probably chill out and behave normally. It would just be a dead body part floating around in the scrotum there. Bear isn't a fan of this idea, and yours truly is most definitely not a fan of this idea. Well, I'm glad you're having a ball, Patrick. We're losing one over here.
Anyhow, try and pause for a minute, little bit. So anyhow, it is my considered opinion that if you buy one of these furnaces, which is in general fairly well built, a couple things I would do. First of all is I would go ahead and put more staples in there to much more securely hold those elements to prevent sagging and drooping and all that other stuff. And also, if you can get an extra piece of ceramic foam or something on the bottom to protect it from drips and such, I think that would be a very wise investment. So those are the 2 weaknesses I see in this particular kiln, both easily rectified. And the other negative is the programmable model. The instructions suck. But I have good instructions for it now. So if you want to get the programmable version, I can send you instructions that you can understand.
Robert says to how they tell it's dead or alive, they did an ultrasound and they turned on the little Doppler thing that shows them the blood circulation.
No.
Lefty was nice and bright and red and pulsing, and you could hear the pulse and everything. Righty was blue, and it wasn't for the normal reason one has blue balls. So that's how they could tell. And well, he's going to be running ball to the wall as of tomorrow. He'll be on half speed, you know. Walt says, tell Keith the assays came back at average 4.7 gold, 21.8 silver from 4 samples.
Is that ounces per ton?
Is that ounces per ton? Hi, Terry. Bear's on the floor. He's laying down on the job tonight because he has zombie ball disease. They're taking the zombie ball out tomorrow.
It's much more comfortable this way.
And Walt says, yes, it is. He used Hiddle over in Colorado.
Very good grades.
Excellent, Walt. Good for you.
Hand me my water glass that's over there.
Yeah, here's your water glass. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyhow, another thing that we're going to do is when replacing this wire, apparently the standard procedure is to take a spool of wire, wrap it around a mandrel, and then that makes your coil. By choosing the correct diameter wire and the correct overall length of wire.
Oh, true, Alan.
What was his?
Alan says you remind him of the hand on the Addams Family. You know, the hand in the box.
Yep. Thing.
Yeah, thing.
And anyhow, but we can also select a more expensive but a more durable wire. So I'm going to work with Lauren and Chris and see if we can order a spool of this wire in. We're also, instead of crimp connectors, going to go to a screw-on connector, which will allow us to reuse them.
Chris says you can buy it preformed, but it's a lot cheaper to buy straight wire and coil it.
Yeah. Do you have to heat it when you coil it, Chris?
Well, if it's on a spool, it's already coiled technically anyway.
Well, not nearly the...
Yeah, I know. Not nearly the... I can finally kick him when he's down and he'll stay there, says Arizona Prepper. No more living in fear.
Yeah. By the time you get here, good luck.
Dude, you really do have to come up here this coming summer. It is cool up here. Chris says he thinks it should come soft.
Okay. Because, yeah, we could just take a...
Goldstream, what we're doing is he's replacing the coils in the oven he has because when he holds the door open so he can watch Q-pelling and things, the difference in temperature on the 2 sides of the coil apparently made it like warp and go against itself and ground out and do other technical things that the tinfoil hat goddess does not have in her worldview. So they need to be replaced with something better.
Well, if we had reinforced it with more support before we did anything, I doubt that it would have got damaged at all. And some staples would have been a very, very cheap way to deal with this initially. But again, you live and learn. The spool of wire that we're getting would probably, well, it's a 1 pound spool of wire. My guess is those coils don't weigh more than 3 or 4 ounces.
Yeah, Robert, the ball's in his court, all right. Bold move, Cotton.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Not great, but not bad.
Well, Shiny says foul ball right there.
Ooh, that's better.
Chuck is into the dredge thing, not down with crushing rocks, but he has friends that do crush rocks.
Yeah.
You can always, we will get the info to you before the end of this. Goldstream says nickel wire isn't that expensive.
I I don't know. I know that there's a.
Robert says great golden balls of fire.
Yeah.
Well, great golden ball of fire.
Say the 16 gauge wire that Chris was looking at, which was the premium stuff, was about $50 for a 1 pound spool. What's the for 16 gauge? What is it for nickel?
Actually, Goldstream said nichrome, and I'm not sure. Yeah. And Terry says you should keep your nut and make a mold of it and make a cast of the gold when you've got it so you can brag about your nugget. Now, that is funny, Terry, because I found out the other day, Professor Hardrock did the math for me, but it turns out that an average male testicle probably weighs 1.4 pounds if it's made out of solid gold. This conversation came up because I actually know somebody else who had a nut removed. So that's how that came about. Chris says nichrome is a little cheaper but has lower service temperatures.
Yeah. Yeah, the stuff he was.
Sometimes you feel like a nut and sometimes you don't. That is true.
Yeah, I don't feel like this one. Me and this one are going to part ways, and I'll be glad.
He ain't feeling this one, and I'll tell you, I ain't feeling this one either. It creeps me out. I'm convinced that the zombie nut is going to explode and do an alien thing out of his scrotum on me.
I was thinking of that the other day. It would be the sort of thing like an Alien.
Chuck says, "Fuck my life. I'm glad I'm not in your undies. I mean shoes."
Well, I'm probably glad you're not in my undies.
Goldstream says nichrome 18 gauge is 50 feet for $10. Smoking Joking says slides in sideways in a mountain oyster food truck. Howdy, boys, looking for supplies.
That's not bad, Smoking.
Well, some people say I am nuts. Some people say I just have some. They happen to be in Bear's possession,
But anyhow, I'm not sure what the 1 pound spool of 16 gauge. I forget what
Hi, Paulo.
The trade name was, but it's I believe nickel iron something or other. I don't know. It's a special alloy, and it's got another couple hundred degrees of service temperature at centigrade.
Goldstream, we can call him Lefty, and we can also sing the Ballad of One Ball Riley if you like, if anybody knows the tune.
I've never even heard of it.
Oh, it's a very, very old, dirty song from a zillion years ago. Okay.
Probably on
we
YouTube.
have Paulo here from Brazil. Hello, Paulo.
We don't normally do this, Paulo, but when injuries happen, you do what you can.
He is having surgery again tomorrow. He's having male issues. That's the best way to put it right now here. The wingnut dishwashers.
Do you have a question, Paulo?
Yeah, Paulo, if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat and I will read it out loud to him so he can hear it. Chuck says, I'll send this week. All I ask is you give me a rough idea of ounce per ton last copper twisted wire weird stuff tested out 7 ounce a ton, but it was only a 5 pound sample. He's going to be sending you a pile of rocks to play with.
Sweet.
So he'll get to play with some stones that aren't his own, huh? That's cool.
Less painful.
Yeah, and he's rising to the occasion. He fell for me a long time ago, Roberts. We all know this.
I was going to say something. Oh, by the way, Jim said he was going to try and observe electronically tonight, but I don't know if he's out there or not. It wasn't guaranteed. So if you have a question for Jim, just say so, and we'll see if he's monitoring. And
what are the different kinds of wire, and what temp does it heat at?
Chris, could you answer that one, since I'm sure it's right at your fingertips?
Yeah, Goldstream, he's laying down on the job, and we're all floored by this. Absolutely floored, because this man never does this. Chuck says, interesting fact, there was nickel, copper, pyrite, and trace platinum in all that sample. He'll post a copy of the labs.
Nickel? That's unusual.
Yeah, nickel, that is unusual.
Depends on the grade, but that's pretty valuable.
That could be pretty darn good now that an actual nickel is worth almost 8 cents melt. If anybody's interested in that idea, yes.
Did Chris ever comment on the temperatures?
Chris hasn't gotten back to us on what the temperatures are yet.
I think
but he does say that nichrome is about $8 a pound less than kenthal. Yeah, rhodium went up $1,000 today. I saw that.
The kenthal had another 200 degrees centigrade operating temperature.
Chris says nichrome is about 2150 Fahrenheit, so we should probably go with the kenthal, which is 2550 Fahrenheit. That way we can cover everything we need.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Chris. So helpful.
It's not that
I know, this is a weird live stream, people. This is a Trey weird live stream. Trey, cray. But it's been a Trey, cray week. I mean,
I'm tired of laying down doing nothing, so I might as well lay down and be the butt of jokes. At least it kills time.
He wants to be the butt of jokes. Have we run out of jokes yet around here? Wakes are supposed to be filled with jokes. It's funerals where you have your riot. Trust me on this. But at any rate, there are trade-offs in some applications, but the Canthal A1 is probably a good bet.
Yeah.
Yay! Cool. I will make sure it happens.
And my guess is in that one spool, we should be able to make equivalent of three or four.
Roberts, this is definitely his roasting. Of course, every day is his roasting as far as I'm concerned. Roasting bear is a wonderful hobby around here.
Oh, man. All this hostility.
Chuck, he could wear half a cup with us savages. You see, the remaining ball is a ball of steel. He doesn't have to protect that one. The zombie, well, that's another story entirely. Shiny, if he feels like he's 20 again, I am in real trouble. Okay, I prefer Bear when he's feeling somewhere close to his age. From all I have heard at 20, he was really unmanageable.
Yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, the old farter is lying down on the job, Kodak. Keith's not roasting on an open fire.
That's not bad.
That's from Chris. We all need to sing that one. Oh. Hot sauce dripping from his nose. No, that would be chipmunks roasting on an open fire. Yeah. Sorry. I've been listening to too many parody Christmas songs. But at any rate, he has done nothing else except turn his mind to fixing the furnace problem. So that was how his week went. And, well,
I'd love to get the materials on hand by the time that I'm actually able to do something with it.
But I do believe if Lauren is still around, he's been doing all kinds of cool stuff over there because Lauren's having all the fun. And Lauren was absolutely amazing. When Professor Hardrock got stuck up in Great Falls at a hospital that I wouldn't send my worst enemy's dog to, Lauren went up there and got his happy butt home before they managed to kill him. Because they tried. Well, very bad people up there.
It's hard to kill someone.
Yes, Kodak, it's not as much building the furnace, it's repairing the furnace, because Keith discovered that when he holds the door open to watch the Q-pelling process, the difference to let air in during the Q-pelling process, the difference in temperature on the two sides of the coils caused them to warp a little, and where they touch together, they shorted out. So they're not working properly. So the new plan is to upgrade the type of wire that's in there, first of all, so that he can get higher temperatures, and to upgrade some of the other parts and put some more staples and things in so that this is less likely to happen in the future.
Support it better.
It
loses a lot of strength when it's white hot. And, you know, it can stretch and bend and stuff like that. By putting more staples in there, you can support it so much better. I would expect no real distortion.
And Chris says, no, we're talking about Keith losing at the ball game, but the furnace is getting a tangential mention. Yeah, that's the other thing we're talking about here, Kodak. We are having something of a wake and a memorial service because Professor Hardrock has a zombie ball. It died. And unlike most zombies, well, kind of like most zombies, This one isn't just kind of shriveling up and atrophying. It's hurting like hell and swelling to the size of a small grapefruit. So it's being removed tomorrow. He's going to be minus a nut. If he were minusing a wit, he would be a half wit, but instead he's just minusing a nut. Finally.
Well, you know, they say that a lot of guys think between their legs, so maybe I will become a half-wit.
Good point. Patrick, if he replaces the switch that he destroyed the first time,
I've got the spare already.
He's got the spare. If he actually gets around to replacing the spare, we may get around to destroying another one. That would be really cool. Arizona Prepper says, I'll get Keith a replacement ball for Christmas so his wish of being a full man will come true. If you do that, be sure to get a titanium one so that if anybody ever decides to kick him in the nuts, they pay for it. Shiny Rock says, Keith, if I took a sample to the South Dakota School of Mines, would they be able to do an assay? I'm not sure how much assayers charge in Colorado, but it's going to cost $50 just to ship to Colorado. Shiny, it depends on your School of Mines. A lot of them do actually have assaying equipment, and some of them run assaying certification classes. You could call them and find out. They may be able to recommend a local that would be cheaper, or they may have the equipment to do it. Huh.
Yeah.
Paris says, call me Sancho Claus. Oh,
not too bad.
Arizona Prepper, you will always be my macho taco, and you know that.
Shiny, yeah, just call them first.
Chris says half off castrations.
Ooh.
Oh, Chris, that makes my Jewish heart happy. The thought of half off anything, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Smoking says he's singing the Mounds candy bar song. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. No, Mounds.
Yeah,
Almond Joy's got nuts. Mounds don't.
Exactly.
Chris says solid tungsten something or other. One of the reasons I was suggesting the ultra lightweight white brick because very soft, so cutting grooves, that wire lays in it instead of hanging, according to Kodak.
Yeah. Well, there's vertical runs in this. It's not horizontal.
Chuck says he's got 33 pounds of ore and 13 pounds of some juicy black sand.
Good.
You are welcome to throw rocks at Professor Hardrock. He loves playing with stones.
Oh.
He loves getting his rocks off. We all know this.
Oh, by the way, let me tell this.
Chuck says it's all about the angle of the dangle, not the fall of the ball.
Yeah.
Goldstream says, how about eliminating the door, wrap wire all around, and have the opening on the top?
You'd have to really do a lot of major changes. You'd be better off building a whole new furnace. You could do that.
Shiny, yeah, it is very expensive to ship things these days anyway. If I were you, I would call the Rapid City Mining School and ask them, because it's quite possible. Our mining school here at Montana Tech has all the assaying equipment. It's not that they don't have it. They're just not running an assaying certification class right now. They do more advanced stuff over there.
Anyhow, can I speak now?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll be right back. You'll have to listen to the disembodied voice like you usually do with me.
Anyhow, so just as a humorous aside, obviously this whole testicle thing has been rather annoying in terms of I started having symptoms, like 5 days ago, and I'm finally going to get it resolved tomorrow. But on Saturday, we went to the hospital to make sure nothing was going horribly awry. And when we were there, got an appointment with the urologist for this morning at 10. And they said, no, you're not getting an infection or anything. The situation is not urgent enough that it requires, emergency surgery. It doesn't qualify. So, I just had to kind of grit my teeth, so to speak. But this morning, when I had to go to the urologist, I decided, screw it. If I got to play this game, I'm going to play it. So, because it's rather large and hanging there is rather painful.
Hi, Lauren. Just finished a bead, 0.134 grams from 2 grams of dried cartridge 1.
0.134
0.134
from 2 grams.
From 2 grams of cartridge 1.
Right. So that should be about 1 gram. What's 0.134 divided by 2?
66.5.
Yeah. So that's about
right around there.
66% of the theoretical. Say the theoretical was 1.1 gram per gram. I mean, 0.11 grams per gram. So if that had been 1 gram of resin, that would have been extraordinary. As it is, it's better, but it's
yeah. Chris says about 60%.
Yeah, it's still not where it's supposed to be. Now that doesn't mean the gold's actually there, but it probably is, considering the test with the wet resin. Anyhow, so I say I had to go to the urologist today, and I thought, screw it. And so I had my belt loose and my pants kind of undone. We walked into the building. I got my left hand down my pants to support the weight, wander into the doctor's office, go up to the receptionist, give her my name, birth date, and the doctor I'm supposed to see, and then say, and I need a place to lay down. I don't care where, I'll do it on the floor, but I got to lay down somewhere. And I've just imagined that the attention I was getting quietly from people would have been rather much. When we walked out of there, did you hear those ladies say something? The ladies on the left-hand side?
I did not hear the ladies on the left-hand side of you, but I can tell you this. There was a young dude waiting to see the urologist, probably mid-20s, and he was sitting by the door, and as Professor Hard Rock is kind of skulking through the door looking like Lurch or Frankenstein with his hand down his pants and his belt flapping and everything and making piteous whimpering noises, that young dude was side-eyeing him like, what the fuck does this guy have? Is it contagious? And could that be happening to me? It's not his prostate, Lito. He has zombie ball disease. After he had that hernia, apparently the blood flow got cut off to the right testicle. And usually when this happens, apparently the testicle just kind of shrivels up and atrophies in a nice, polite manner. His has swollen to about the size of a small grapefruit and has been causing intense pain because it's got no blood. So
more the size of a lemon.
It's essentially dead, and it's just hanging out in the scrotum, so it's being removed tomorrow. Yeah, it's a pain only a guy can understand, I am sure.
Anyhow, but laying down, it doesn't hurt too bad, so it's not.
Hi, Jim.
Because I can get away from the pain real easy, but I can't do very much.
Yeah, so he is currently laying down on the job here, and we are all busting his balls and having a wonderful time jerking his chain on the issue.
Yep.
Yeah, that does not surprise me, Shiny. The best you can do is call them, because if they have the equipment, who knows? They might want the opportunity, and they have their resources.
It's a good place to start. If they don't, they know where you can.
Well, Lito, the hernia surgery actually went great. He had 0 bruising from it, 0 swelling, and he can get up and move around just fine. It wasn't until the testicle decided to zombify on Thursday, and things have been going downhill ever since.
Let's see if we can see it this time. Can you see my foot? Okay. See? That's what I can, I can just do that. So the hernia surgery is fine. I say it's just and when I stand up, sit up, do anything up, the testicle, I think it's mainly the attachment point with the body
Oh, Lito says he picked up a Mind Lab Sovereign X2A Pro this week. Good gravy.
Never heard of that.
Let us know how it is, please.
Is that a new model? I haven't heard of that one before.
Chris wants to know, what is this? The RHPS stage show.
RHPS?
No idea.
I'm not sure. Oh.
Thank you, Shiny. Sorry things are getting sidetracked. Oh, we'll be talking about old Vladimir in a little while when the tinfoil hat goes on. But as you can see, I'm basically alone other than the disembodied hands and the disembodied.
Can you see the hands okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I can try and do the signing then. We'll see what happens.
Lars says, I don't prescribe heavy sedation, but I do recommend it. Oh, they're knocking him out for this puppy. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lito says, put on my tinfoil hat and tell you about the world here.
That's fine with me. If you're ready to go.
Well, you know, Parrish says, if you have a zombie ball, then I have to destroy your brain. The only way to be sure. Well, that is always assuming he still has a brain. At the moment, it looks like he does. But beyond that, the zombie ball is fairly well confined right now. And unless he raises his life insurance, destroying his brain just isn't worth it. He's much more useful alive. You know. Kodak says the newest and so far sounds to be the best is the new Mind Lab 6000 specifically for gold. The only issue is they are 6,000.
Yeah, that's about right.
And Lito says you have to consume the ball if you do that.
Oh.
Kodak says, well, that was your brain.
That's possible.
Actually, I'm his memory. I don't know whether I'm his brain, but I'm his official memory. Heaven knows the man can't do much without me. Paris, they're taking a ball. They ain't taking Mr. Happy. He's still as useful as he ever has been. Sort of.
Well, that sounds kind of negative in a way.
Lauren says, just ran a resin assay. That was the one that he told us the beat about. Yeah, Lito says with fava beans and a good Chianti. You can't have the fava beans without the good Chianti. I thought that was for sweetbreads. No, I don't remember what Hannibal was eating that day.
Yep. That was the guy's liver. Yeah, let's say it sounds like we made a little improvement. We're still not where we're supposed to be. And
hey, it is improving. Lauren is doing great over there.
Yeah.
And you'll be helping him again soon, we hope.
So when we can get some of the dried resin from stage 3 to give us the same results or close to it as the wet resin from stage 3, then we can take that technique and apply it to the stage 2 and stage 1 resin and see what we get. See, now, if he'd have done that test on stage 2, then we'd have been at 100% at that recovery, 0.123.
Well, Kodak, I am his memory. I am his day planner. I am the organizer in the organization, so to speak. Smoking Lord has the most amazing workshop. It is big. It is beautiful. It is heated. It has a TV. It has a real toilet. And it's got all kinds of cool tools for all kinds of cool stuff. Very, very nice workshop that also happens to have mining things in it.
Lauren, did you ever measure the diameter of the wire or the resistance of that heating element?
Lito says he wants to volunteer to be in on this shop. And Lauren says he will have the same setup you have once you figure it out.
Jeff says, could you probably borrow that mine lab detector and tell him you'll pay 3 ounces when it finds that much gold? Which is a good point. I mean, $6,000 for a metal detector is pretty crazy.
I got a Mine Lab 4000 that I don't even use. It's my brother's.
I thought it was a 5,000.
I'm not sure. It might be. I think it's a 4, but it could be a 5.
I think it's a... Jim says he got my new 2020 Gold Hog stream sluice today with the Piglet wash head. Try to show it off next Monday. Nice cleanup sluicer test unit. Cool.
The Piglet wash head?
Oh,
that's hilarious.
This sounds good. Lito says sell it to him.
How much you want to pay for it? I'll give you a good price.
Yeah, it's a 5,000. It's not a 4,000 if I remember rightly.
Now my brother just wants to get
Scotty Getz says Nevada here. Does the Mine Lab 6000 find flour gold in rocks? Is that's what's meant by made for gold?
It doesn't find the superfine gold distributed throughout the rocks. There's some phenomenon, I don't know the physics of it, but the same amount of gold that's detectable in one chunk is completely indetectable if it's broken up into a bunch of little pieces. The exact same amount of gold becomes indetectable.
Lito wants you to quote him a price.
I'll have to check with my brother, but I'm sure it's less than 2,000.
Yeah, he has to check with his brother first, but his brother Randy did want to sell it. So, we will find out for you, Lito, what he wants for it.
You got my phone up there?
As far as I know, there is, Scotty, as far as I have seen, they don't make a metal detector that works for flour gold in hard rock. There's just too much other noise or something.
The best one out there for real small is probably the Falcon 20, but it has a very small search area.
Lito, is that detector, is that Mine Lab for gold mostly?
Yeah.
Yes, Lito, it is mostly for gold. Roberts says gold has a negative magnetism. It pushes away from the magnet slightly instead of pulling like iron. Yeah, it would not surprise me.
If I can get hold of my brother, I'll get you some details, Lito.
He's going to try to get some details from his brother.
Hey, Randy.
Well, somebody else may find it useful. I can tell you, Lito, you can program it to find coins and collectibles and relics and all kinds of other stuff.
And what do you want?
You don't have to just program it for gold.
Give me a number. How much? $3,000? Okay, let me.
Yeah, if anybody does know somebody who wants the Mine Lab that we have, that would, his brother wants about $3,000 or something for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if White's went out of business, Lito. Anybody know?
Yeah. How does $3,000 sound, Lito? And by the way, if you're not an expert, you're probably not going to be happy with it. It's a kind of a complicated detector. It's powerful. It's designed to find gold in heavily mineralized matrix.
I will tell you, Lito. Yeah, that is. It's going to be not useful for him.
Yeah. Okay. No, not going to work. I think he's not a highly skilled detectorist sort of thing. He's kind of
the thing about the Mine Lab is it is an amazing machine. It has a heavy backpack. And
if they've got the right application, it's like that the Autolite. For most people, the Transit's more than enough. But just for your information, both the Gold Bug 2 and the Gold Monster, each one less than 1,000, work pretty well. I've seen them pick up some pretty small stuff. Okay.
But at any rate, if anybody knows anybody looking for a Mine Lab, we have one. His brother wants $3,000 for it.
Mine Lab 5,000.
It's a Mine Lab 5,000.
Now, if you're not that experienced, Lito, the best people to talk to that I know of is iBreak for Bedrock, One of them's got a gold bug too, and the other one's got a gold monster. I think it's a 7,000 is what they call it, but they both will pick up real small stuff.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing what those gold bugs will do.
I've been with them when they were using them too, so it's not. I'm not just from watching the video. I mean, I've actually seen them do it in person. It'll pick up some small stuff. So for a new user, somebody who's not an experienced detectorist and is looking for more of a general purpose gold finding detector, I'd recommend one of those two from the information I have. And both I Break for Bedrock and I think Chris Ralph both did videos on, how to optimize, it's, both of those. So,
and I will say that any good detector is going to be costing a little bit of change, especially today. I mean, yeah, I can go down to Walmart and I can get a metal detector that will find me pre 64 quarters and pre 82 pennies and pieces of jewelry and stuff on a beach. But most of the ones I've seen don't really work well for, more specialized things like finding nuggets, unless they're big nuggets.
Yeah. 3-ounce nugget, no problem.
Oh, yeah.
But both of those machines are less than $1,000 brand new.
Yeah, Jeff Williams has some really good videos on it too.
Yeah. Good.
Miner Jim says he swears by the new gold bug too. It's a great beginning detector. Yeah, I have heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah. I mean, unless you've got the need for all the fancy bells and whistles of like MineLab 5000, I think it's just more things to cause problems. If you're dealing in particular situations, you may need all that fancy stuff.
Yeah, Kodak, I'd say 200 or less for playing, and hobby is 300 to $1,000 for basic entry level hobby. But basically, so that is where we are today. You can get a knockoff of the G2, a Chinese one, also a knockoff of a Fisher F19 called the TX850 for under 200. More Chinese knockoffs. I don't think I have to tell you my opinion on that idea, but I do see the point. Oh yeah. The cheap ones will pick up will pick up stuff that's very deep, that's not very deep and is in a good area.
Yeah.
We've got someone here from Mexico. Hello.
This is a rather unusual live stream because I'm kind of hurt right now. So the only comfortable position is laying down. So I'm on the floor.
Wow, Shiny says MBMM turnkey system for extractions only 100,000. He's not sure if that includes shipping.
Oh, that'd be Mount Baker.
Yeah.
MBMM.
Yep.
Do you have any questions?
We're all discussing metal detectors right now. I'm not seeing any questions, but if anybody does have any questions, go ahead and type them in and I will read them out so he can answer them from his position on the floor here. Because he does need something to do. He's just looking too darn comfortable down here. He's preventing the carpet from running away. No, you're not going to fall asleep. If you start falling asleep, I'll kick you.
Be careful where you kick.
Yeah, Patrick. Where I am sitting, I'd be kicking everything north of the belly button. So
many years ago, when I had just got my vasectomy, my youngest daughter was trying to get my attention.
Easy Laulen from Mexico wants a good recipe for smelting gold.
What are you smelting it out of? Is this a hard rock concentrate, or just you've got metallic gold and you want to put it into a bar? What is it? What is the actual purpose? Because the flux depends on what's with the gold.
Encapsulated gold.
Is it encapsulated in sulfides?
Yeah, what is it encapsulated in? To get the gold nugget. And yes, Lito, bat mitzvah.
Yeah, is it encapsulated in quartz or is it encapsulated in sulfides, pyrite?
Shabbat shalom.
It all depends on what's around it as to how you make the flux. The flux?
It came from rocks, his rocks.
Yeah.
With lots of pyrite.
Lots of pyrite. Okay.
He's coming up here to make a note of something for you.
No, I'm going to look in the book here real quick. Now, are you trying to extract the gold out of the pyrite too? I presume. See my glasses?
Yeah, that's what Kodak is asking. Is more specifics. We're going to get you some specifics here, and yes, he's trying to get it out of. He's trying to get it out of the pyrite.
Bismuth, antimony, auriferous, tinstone.
I would think you'd probably want to roast the pyrites.
That's usually the way you would do it. Are you familiar with what they mean by roasting the pyrites? Because that's usually...
They cook it at high enough to get rid of the pyrite, he thinks.
Okay.
Yep, they roasted it.
Okay.
We're getting you some information on where you go from roasting right now, Easy. If anybody's got any what's the melting temperature of gold?
1950.
1950 is the melting temperature of gold, by the way.
Fahrenheit. Okay. Where are we
and can they resmelt if they messed up?
Oh yeah. Always save your slags.
Always save the slag. When you're smelting anything, you always save the slag. But as Kodak points out here, one thing you can do is break it up enough so you can try gravity separation unless you have really small gold. And once you get the gold gravity separated, then you can just melt it and make a bead out of it. But we're going to see if we can find a few other ideas for you.
There's the soda iron method. Oh. If you've got it thoroughly oxidized, then The class 1 ore. If it's been properly roasted, then you do it as a class 1 ore.
How much flux for 100 grams of pay dirt?
Probably more than 100 grams. Let's see. What other rock is in there, by the way, too? Is this basically quartz, or is it limestone, or what?
Yeah, it would depend a lot on the other kinds of rock that it is. If the pyrites were in quartz or limestone or whatever, that makes a difference in how you set up the flux. They're all different. This, you know.
Okay, class 2.
Smoking, that is a good idea.
Problem with.
Okay, some of it's in quartz, some of it's in lime. It comes from different mines.
Okay.
Then they're probably going to end up needing different fluxes.
Yep.
The rocks look brown and orange.
Yep. Delicious. Basic. Okay. Look up what an assay ton is, little one. That's a certain weight. Okay.
Number of milligrams.
29.166 million. Okay, so 29.1 grams. Okay. For the stuff that has mainly quartz, try 30 grams of ore, 30 grams of sodium carbonate, 2 1/3 grams of flour, and 73 grams of litharge. Now this will melt down. It'll be into a lead button, which will then have to be cupelled, but it will get very good recovery of the gold. If all your particles of gold are fairly large, I would agree. Crush it, do a gravity separation, pan it down, and then just use a regular type flux. Basically kind of an equal mix of sodium carbonate and borax sort of thing.
Yeah, Shiny, I agree with Kodak. I would build a crusher. Yeah. Finding a used crusher at a decent price anymore is ridiculous. He wants those numbers again.
Okay. Now this is for an assaying flux. This will grab all the gold, put it into a lead button, and then you have to cupel the lead away.
Read the numbers and I will type them in.
30 grams ore.
Okay.
30.7 grams sodium carbonate or washing soda. 73 grams of litharge.
Oh, 30 grams or 30.7 grams washing soda.
Or sodium carbonate.
Okay.
Okay. 73 grams litharge, which is lead oxide.
Okay.
And
well, I already had it in there.
well, you just stopped. You didn't type in lead oxide. Okay. The reason I said lead oxide is he may not know what litharge is. And 2 1/3 grams of flour to reduce the litharge. Now for your...
He says they have litharge.
Okay. You're talking limestone primarily? For your limestone or your dolomite material, you want 30 grams of ore.
Okay.
If I got this, oh no, wait a minute, a second. 30 grams of ore, yeah. 30 grams of sodium carbonate.
Okay.
10.7 grams of borax glass. That would be anhydrous borax.
Okay.
60 grams of litharge.
Mm-hmm.
2 1/3 grams of flour. 12.8 grams of silica. Oh.
Hi, Tricky. Professor Hard Rock is on the floor tonight. He's laying down on the job because he has a zombie testicle that they're removing tomorrow. It rolled over and died last Thursday, and it's been giving him hell ever since. Roberts, I wouldn't think it would make a difference whether it was whole wheat or white. Flour is flour, but I would go with white.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. It's just to reduce some of the litharge into lead.
Yeah, he's down on the floor playing disembodied voice. Yeah, it's a zombie testicle, dude. Literally, the blood flow got cut off. So normally when this happens, a testicle will kind of shrivel up and atrophy. This one's deciding to swell and be very painful before it shrivels up and atrophies. So they're taking it out tomorrow.
Ask the guy from Mexico, does he understand what I mean by cupelling out the lead?
Easy. Why do some recipes use lye? What does lye do? Kodak. And yes, he understands what you mean by cupelling out the lead. Okay. He's looking up what lye does right now. Yeah, dead balls matter. Hashtag dead balls matter. I can get behind that. So now when I buy him his t-shirt, I can't put I have gold balls. I have to put I have gold ball. And yes, I am eating a delicious protein bar because I forgot to eat earlier. He's kind of reading laying down, but he doesn't do very well. And yes, lye is indeed sodium hydroxide. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same stuff.
Yes, it can be used in the smelt. We're looking up right now what you would use it for.
Give me glasses. Oh.
Roberts, I did not see the headline at the channel Full Spectrum Survival yet. Yep, caustic soda. Great for soap making. By the way, rendered beef tallow is great for soap making too. You can make soap from any fat. Just in case you're wondering, because people have been asking of late for some bizarre reason what they can use saved animal fats for in a, post economic collapse situation other than just eating with. And it's like soap making, plenty of it.
They could probably deep fry testicles.
Hi, Argonaut. Yeah, in case you missed it, tonight is testicle joke night. Make all the testicle jokes you want, and we will all rate them. Yeah, Trevor. Government fat is the only kind of fat that is toxic to all life, okay? Well, I don't know. Seed oils come in a close second.
I can't find the reference, but I bet you somebody there knows what.
Breaking Russia declaring America an enemy. Yeah. That would not surprise me, Roberts. I did see the video. I haven't had a chance. And yes, lie is great for getting rid of evidence, depending on the evidence you're trying to get rid of. And get this, if the lie is used to get rid of organic evidence, like testicles, it automatically works with the fat that is attached to said organic evidence and makes soap. Adipose hair, which happens naturally, by the way, to some corpses, depending on how they're buried. Just so you know.
If Chris or
Wolfman, other than the zombie ball, everything else is hanging just fine around here. At the rate things are going, I will have more balls than Professor Hardrock at some point, which is kind of bad.
Harsh.
Well, yeah. Anyway, since we have no idea what's going on in mining here.
Oh, I'd stand up for myself, but I can't stand.
Hi, Trevor. Yeah, oops. All kinds of oops going on around here these days. Yeah, Smoking. Depending on the circumstances you end up with, it could end up turning to soap in the end. Adipose hair is a thing, and it is a soap, a naturally occurring soapy type substance that foams that comes along with certain types of corpses. There's an amazing book out there that I forget the name of right now that does nothing but discuss all the ways a body falls apart after it croaks. Very, very good book. Really, really bad pictures if you do not have a very strong stomach, but a very good book on the science of decomposition. Yeah, Professor One hung low. He will be at this point. Well, I don't know. Nitric acid is awfully expensive for getting rid of bodies, Goldstream. I mean, Come on now. Maybe if you were made of money, nitric acid's a good way to get rid of bodies. Just saying. I'm a fan of hydrofluoric acid because it gets rid of everything, but he won't let me play with it.
That's nasty stuff.
I have not read Unintended Consequences yet. I have heard about it. 1 to 6 months food? Well, let me put it this way. If by some incredible miracle that would make me a trillionaire if the news got out, I got pregnant tomorrow, and I ate food that we had in the house every single day, and we did not replenish it, I would probably be polishing off the last jar the day I went into labor, because my grandmother's ghost would come back and haunt me if I didn't have a pantry that satisfied that condition. Oh. Yeah. Well, Chris, hydrofluoric may not be at all good for dissolving bodies, but it's good for dissolving all kinds of other stuff, I
think a fine grind combined with disposal in the ocean would probably be about as good as anything.
You heard him. Fine grind, marine disposal, which actually, I can see the point, depending on how many sharks you had in your areas. What do you guys think about chasing the catalytic converter metals from streets, and sewers, and highways?
I don't know.
I have not looked into it yet. There are a few people out there that are saying that you can get good scrapping that way in terms of the catalytic converter metals smoking. I want to do some more digging because I think their math may be off.
Back in a minute.
Yeah, pig farms aren't a good idea in Canada anymore, huh? Chum with the chump. That works. Chumming with the chump works. Well, Argonaut, let me put it this way. One is normal size, which means if it were cast in gold, it would weigh about 1.4 pounds. The other one is approximately 2.85 times normal size as of the last time I checked it yesterday, before I decided I don't want to go near it because it's probably going to explode like an alien and come out of a really, really bad place, you know. So I'm just, you know, I'm just glad this doctor is removing it. When he went up to Great Falls on Thursday, and by the way, do not ever send your enemy's dog to Benefice Hospital in Great Falls. Don't send your worst enemy to Benefice Hospital in Great Falls. When he went up there on Thursday, they decided not to remove it. He went by ambulance too. I am not sure, Smoking, how much a standard testicle would weigh in brass because I don't know the weight of brass in terms of specific gravity, etc., and density.
About 60% of gold.
Chris says, well, the doc looks at it and says, wow, the left one must be the atrophied one. Out it goes. Chris, at this point, other than the whole hormone issue, there's really no reason they couldn't take both of them. It's not like we're going to be producing children anytime soon around here. Don't I wish?
Ask Chris what lye is used for infusion.
Tricky says after the operation, he should bring it back from the hospital, take it to Lawrence, put it in a crucible and some litharge and smelt the crap out of it. You know, you never know. You have to wonder how many trace minerals are floating around in your average human body.
They won't give you that bio-waste anymore. You can't get souvenirs.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't get your bio-waste anymore. It used to be if you got gallstones taken out or something, they'd give them to you as a souvenir. Apparently, they don't do that anymore. Bummer. Anyway, I am going to don the tinfoil hat so we can discuss some of the news of the day. Yeah, I'm a fan of take both, but, you know, if they take the wrong one, they darn well better take the other one if that turns out to be the case. I will tell you.
They get to find the other one.
Well, now, boy, a lot has kind of sort of happened in the last week, I'd say. I mean, it seems to me that this has been a busy week news cycle-wise. As we all noticed today, gold magically crossed the 2,000 mark for just a little while, and it settled in at $1,993 an ounce. I think oil's currently still around 120, 130, but I'm betting it will be 200 within the month. Silver closed at, I believe it was $25.56. The positively minded people are saying that this may be the new normal for silver and gold for the moment. They have passed their first resistance point in their trajectory upward to the moon, which is great for us. Now, in mining news, disturbing things are happening in Chile. We will get to Vlad and company shortly. But in Chile, we are seeing a government that already has some funny ideas, okay? Chile is a step closer to nationalizing their copper and lithium mines. Chile's Constituent Assembly, in charge of writing the country's new constitution, approved on Saturday an early-stage proposal that opens the door to nationalizing some of the world's biggest copper and lithium mines. The motion by the Environmental Committee, which gathered over the weekend for the first time since its creation as a deadline to wrap up proposals looms, received 13 votes in favor with 3 against and 3 abstentions. The proposal, targeting mostly large-scale mining of copper, lithium, and gold, has yet to be approved by two-thirds of the full assembly to become part of Chile's new charter, which will be put to a national referendum later this year. The motion, considered by analysts a direct attack on private interests, given that the Chilean state already owns the underlying mineral rights, gives the government 1 year to nationalize companies. These firms, which work with metallic and non-metallic minerals as well as hydrocarbons, would likely not receive indemnification for losing their mining rights. The comptroller would determine this based on the book value of the companies paid over a maximum of 30 years, the proposal states. The text also states operations and projects which began before 1993 would have to submit to environmental evaluation within 3 years. Concessions in excluded areas, such as near glaciers and on indigenous lands, would be revoked. The Environmental Committee, stacked with young activists, voted on a first draft of this motion in early February, triggering immediate backlash even from Chilean authorities themselves. Diego Hernandez, president of the National Mining Society, which represents companies in the sector, qualified the idea as barbaric and with clear and obvious legal errors. The center-left mining veteran has said the measure targets both companies and resources and would have a major economic and legal impact in Chile. Given the world's globalization, I would expect affected companies to resort to treaties to defend their legitimate interests. Socialist politician Sergio Pitar, who was Minister of Mines under the deposed government of leftist Salvador Allende in 1973, has referred to the initiative as a delirious return to the past. I don't know whether he means that delirious in a good way or delirious in a bad way. Chile passed a law in 1967 requiring companies to be at least 51% owned by nationals. 4 years later, the state bought the remaining 49% of shares and companies were completely nationalized. I recall all the problems we had trying to sell copper outside of the business circle. I remember when Congress voted not to pay any compensations to the companies for assets and lost profits, which is what I am listening to now, Bitar said in an interview with Merco Press. One thing are dreams, wishful dreams, the veteran politician said. The other is reality, which shows how dependent Chile is of global powers. For example, Chile now buys a third of Chilean copper. So what will be our strategy with nationalized mining companies? Lower exports? Chile, the world's largest copper producer and host to the two biggest lithium miners, is rewriting its constitution to replace a market-centric one that dates back to the military dictatorship of General Augusto Pinochet. Now, there's a name that I haven't heard since several hours ago when I was in the car with Professor Hardrock. The nation produced 5.6 million tons of copper in 2021, about 25% of the total generated in the world, and has a pipeline of almost $70 billion in possible mining projects this decade, much of which would never materialize if the country nationalized its resources. Politicians at the world's top copper-producing nation are also fine-tuning a new mining royalty bill, which will raise tariffs on firms based on gross sales and profitability. We estimate that if the new taxes are approved, Chilean copper mining companies would see their tax rates increase to as much as 80% and profit margins drop by more than 50% at current copper prices, FTI said in its latest report. The analysts believe that while the likelihood of outright nationalization, as proposed, is a small radical new royalty regime stands a much better chance. It would push the Chilean tax system into pseudo-expropriation territory, especially with prices likely to stay above $4 a pound, which is where the 75% rate kicks in. They conclude Chile could become the nation with the highest tax burden on copper mining, forcing companies to revisit the viability of their current and future investments. Wow. So that is really crazy. I'm going to take a quick look at the comments here since he can't read them himself. Well, let's see what we got here. Yeah. Yeah, they can't hear you. You're signing, your jazz hands are not happening here. Cousin It should be doing the hand signs. Yeah, I can see that hand now.
Yeah, today was the beginning of a run-up of prices. I will definitely agree. And yes, Shiny, building a crusher can be a bit difficult at times. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I have plans.
And yeah, Chris, there goes their economy. And yeah, nationalization does happen in Mexico too. We have noticed. I did not see your video, Easy. If you sent it to Professor Hardrock's email, he can check that in a minute. He sent you a video so you can see the smelting thing. Yeah. So far, Goldstream, I'm not seeing any uptake in claims in our area, but I haven't checked the BLM lately for new claim status. It would not surprise me if we do.
BLM reports are getting lots of new claim filings.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to file on the silver claims I wanted before, but oh no, somebody didn't want to file on my claims.
Oh.
We all know how that goes. So let's go see what else is in the mining news today, because that is some pretty ominous developments there. I think this is not the first time we're going to see governments deciding to.
Ooh, looks like arsenal pyrite in quartz.
Yeah, I don't think that's from Easy. I'm not sure.
Is that applied knowledge? Easy, are you applied knowledge?
Easy, what was the email address or the first part of the email address you sent your video from to Professor Hardrock while I look up some more news?
No. And that was applied knowledge. Applied knowledge, yours looks like either arsenal pyrite or galena, or maybe sphalerite in quartz. Sulfide in quartz.
Very pretty, by the way, applied knowledge. I like that rock.
Hey, St. Pete's pre-op team.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see it yet, Easy.
Yeah, you might check everywhere. I don't see it yet either. Okay, let me get back to what we're doing here. And in other mining news, I will start reading whether I can see the screen or not. Copper and coal prices hit records and nickel jumps 30% overnight after a wild week of trading. Now, once again, I must remind you that melting down United States coinage like nickels and pennies is definitely against the law. However, that said, look up a site called coinflation.com, because it's kind of funny to see a standard nickel from today now worth 8 cents, 7 cents, and a standard penny from today is now worth like 3 cents. So even on the zinc standard, which would be pennies, yeah, we're getting coinflation again, which is quite fascinating since more places are reporting coin shortages again, and apparently banks are now being told by our dearly beloved Federal Reserve that they should not order coins unless they absolutely need them to cover shortfalls in what's in their drawer. So the days of a person like you or me going in and buying a $500 box of nickels or quarters or dimes so we can hunt for the real silver that is in some of those boxes of coins are pretty much over. I know business people that cannot get coins for their stores. And once again, your public service announcements here: Arizona sucks rocks, and the Federal Reserve is not requiring banks to hold any physical cash in reserve for customers. That's a great way to stop any potential bank runs, because all they have to do is declare a bank holiday. So, thank you, Melinda. He is right down here on the floor. She's sending you positive healing vibes, etc.
Yes, Chris. Vending machine service companies are a good bet, and I know a couple of people that talk to their local Coinstar operators and manage to get a hold of those bags from Coinstar before they hit the bank, which also works out real well. Hi, Jake. How you doing? Yeah, this is messed up stuff. Of course, it's messed up stuff. What do you expect? We are in the interesting time periods. So copper and coal prices hit records, and nickel jumped 30% overnight on a wild week of trading. During a wild week for markets following the imposition of wide-ranging sanctions on Russia, a number of industrial metals hit all-time highs. Aluminum scaled $4,000 per ton for the first time ever, and copper exceeded $5 a pound in whipsaw trading on Monday after hitting a record closing on Friday of $4.94 a pound. Nickel prices rocketed more than 20% overnight to surpass $38,000 for the first time since June 2007. Zinc also set a 15-year high at $4,173 a ton. While lead is clearly the laggard, tin continues to hit records with regularity on its way to $50,000 per ton. Woohoo! Australian export metallurgical coal reached $560 a ton, also an all-time high, as did thermal coal from Newcastle when it topped $400 per ton. Benchmark iron ore prices advanced 20% over the last week to hit $162 a ton. So yeah, the markets are reacting. The markets are reacting to this thing that's going on in Ukraine, as is our dearly beloved federal government. The federal government decided it was going to put sanctions on all kinds of things, everything except metals and fuel. Kind of funny that, because those are the things that old Vladimir makes the most money on from the United States. He makes a whole lot more money selling us oil now that it's 120 a barrel and climbing every single day than he ever did selling us vodka. He certainly makes more money selling us silver, nickel, palladium, platinum, and all the other valuable minerals that come out of the area. And did you know that he's one of the number one producers and exporters of wheat in the world? So how much you want to bet those sanctions won't cover the wheat, since our spring crops are not looking like they're going to be really good this year? Now, one has to wonder how serious our government is about these so-called sanctions when they're not putting any sanctions on that actually hurt Russia as a government entity. The sanctions that are out there are largely hurting people. Citibank and MasterCard and American Express, with their sanctions that are stopping ordinary Russians from accessing money so that they can buy things, and other businesses that are losing money because they sell Russian vodka, or they sell nesting dolls, or they sell something else that Biden went and sanctioned that happens not to be oil, maybe because Hunter is still involved in oil in Ukraine and Russia. So a couple of Pelosi's relatives are involved over there as well in oil for some bizarre reason. And apparently our nuclear power plants said that they were not going to honor the idea of any sanctions against uranium. Why would there be a sanction against uranium when it's really, really clean energy, but not a sanction against oil when it supposedly is a horrible energy, according to the greenie weenies out there? That's another interesting question that we'll have to ponder in the deep of the night. But at any rate, the vast majority of these so-called sanctions are not doing anything to the government at large. They are only peeing off the people. Now, Lindsey Graham did come wandering out from under some rock somewhere and pronounced that Putin needs to be assassinated, and then he doubled down on it. One has to wonder about what Lindsey Graham is thinking here. It's not generally a good idea to talk about assassinating a world leader, even if that world leader is being a real asshole at the moment. This is not generally talk we hear from a seated senator, thankfully. I'm sure they were all thinking it, but I'm surprised Lindsey said it. But
We are now in a really, really bad position here because now our government is talking about actually putting oil sanctions against Russia as well. Considering that our oil production and our gas production has been systematically dismantled as much as is possible in only a year with only executive orders by Lord Malarkey and Company, this strikes me as being an extraordinarily bad idea. Even Elon Musk, who, by the way, I am really liking more and more every day because he actually talks sense, was saying, forget EVs for now. We need to open up the dang pipelines and start pumping again. We need to get energy independent. We need to get back to where we were, a little over a year ago. I believe it's been 402 days since the last mean tweet. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm really missing the mean tweets right now. The mean tweets were attached to $1.99 a gallon gas, which is not happening now. And yeah, China does not need to attack North America for a couple of reasons, Goldstream. First of all, they can stop shipping us stuff. Of course, we can stop shipping them stuff too because they need us to eat. However, they own a significant part of the American food supply chain. They also own a significant part of the American energy supply chain because our idiot politicians going back decades have allowed foreign agents and foreign entities and people who potentially may dislike us to buy our critical shit, which is, all things considered, a really, really, really bad idea. Of course, Washington is not known for good ideas, but this is a badder idea than their usual run of bad ideas. Be that as it may, we have seen the various powers and the various governments. We saw old Socks up there in Canada squeaking about authoritarianism. He's a great one to talk. Takes one to know one. We've seen the UK making noises. We've seen a few other governments making noises. And we've seen everybody imposing sanctions that are largely window dressing. Just like we've seen businesses grandly taking the already paid for Russian vodka off the shelves and in some cases pouring it down the drain, rather than just telling people, okay, we've made our last Russian vodka order. It's staying on the shelves. We're going to cut it to 50%. And when it's gone, it's gone. Oh no, they have to take it off the shelves and make this big deal about we're no longer going to carry Russian products. You already paid for those products. That is an empty statement. That is just virtue signaling. I will say, Germany surprised me with their honesty here because Germany said that they weren't going to consider sanctions on Russian oil because, quite frankly, they are dependent on Russian oil for the German lifestyle and the German standard of living. They actually admitted to it. They said the quiet part out loud. Now, if they went full on nuke the way France did, France has a lot of nuclear power, they might not be in this problem. Instead, they went with those solar panels, which, by the way, use a lot of silver and, wind turbines and all that other nonsense rather than keeping nuclear power and getting more new generation nuclear power, which is actually clean and green. I found it interesting that our nuclear companies said, well, sanctions or no sanctions, we're going to keep buying our uranium from Russia. Now, I found this to be very interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, America has plenty of uranium hanging around, and so does Canada, for that matter. Okay? We already have a lot of uranium. Now, I'm going to have to go digging in. I'm going to have to go through the Wayback Machine on the internet to refresh my memory. But it seems to me that back during the distant days of the Obama regime, when a certain Ms. Clinton, otherwise known as a side of beef, was Secretary of State or something like that, her husband got paid a ridiculous amount of money to make a several-minute-long speech to some Russians, and then next thing we knew,
a Russian uranium company was getting to buy critical infrastructure resources surrounding uranium with the proviso that the uranium never leaves the country or anything. This is yet another symptom of these people that are selling crap to people who do not like us when they should not be selling our crap to people who do not like us. Part of the reason that our supply chain is so monumentally dead in the water now is because of decades of globalist policy, decades of corporations and government imposing regulations that make it hard for corporations to do business and hard for corporations to make money. So they offshore. And then our government attacking the mining industry and making it damn near impossible for smelters and refiners and mines to operate within this country. So all that went offshore, so it's a not in my backyard issue. All of these people want the benefits of a green world, but their idea of a green world, if you actually look at what they're doing, is offshoring all the things that might be dirty or might spoil their view or might lower their property value to some third world country or some nation like China who doesn't like us so that they don't have to look at it. And now our uranium people are saying, well, we're not going to stop buying Russian uranium. Nobody is saying the salient point here. What if Putin sat up tomorrow and said, well, all you guys, all this stuff is still for sale, but I'm only taking gold. Physical gold, mind you, not paper gold. Because, as we all know, paper gold and paper silver are ridiculous these days. As a matter of fact, let's go take a look at the debt clock as of today. The paper to silver ratio has hit a new all-time high, 362.87 to 1. The paper to gold ratio is 110.03 to 1. What do you think would happen if the world's number one wheat exporter said, we'll only take physical gold for wheat? Or we'll only take physical gold for oil? Or we'll only take physical gold for uranium? That is something that everybody is studiously ignoring here, which they should not be ignoring, because India has also been stockpiling precious metals for years. Putin stopped buying treasury bonds years ago, divested himself. He's got less than 200 billion left. China's holding the bag of like 6 trillion that they could flood the market with to kill us. Okay? Putin's got less than half a billion left here. Okay? I mean, he's got peanuts. India has been stockpiling gold, and they have far, far ratcheted up their buying of physical silver. China has been stockpiling gold and silver. Russia produces a hell of a lot of silver and palladium and platinum and a whole bunch of other stuff that we really, really need in the rest of the world to do things with. At this point in time, I think we should consider ourselves just dumb lucky that old Vladimir has not pulled the nuclear option. Who knows what kind of a backdoor deal he may have and with whom. But I think we should consider ourselves dumb lucky that he hasn't pulled the nuclear option at this point and said, well, since you guys decided that you're going to kick me out of the SWIFT system, I'm going to take my toys and go home. Anybody wants to do business with me, you better give me physical gold, physical silver, physical platinum, physical, sorry, I'm not taking the pieces of paper with dead people on them anymore. Because if he does that, and even one other major player like China gets behind him, we could have a real problem on our hands. The only thing that is holding up the fiat currency system, not just US dollars, but Canadian and everybody else's paper with pictures of people on it, is simple faith. That is all that is holding it up. That is more brainwashing than the craziest religion on this planet. Okay? It is nothing but faith to look at one of those pieces of paper and actually believe that it is worth that. Okay? If somebody really big, like somebody who exports 20% of the world's wheat, if a group of countries that export 75% of the world's chemical fertilizers decides that they're not going to buy into the faith of pieces of paper anymore, we're going to have an economic revolution on our hands. We're already looking at some serious problems right now here. I mean, we are already looking at some serious problems here. And yes, our schools did quit teaching people how to make stuff. Part of leftism is labor snobbery. There's nothing wrong with being a redneck, yet it's considered a pejorative. It is a very much a symptom of the liberal mindset as it stands now, the leftist mindset that you're only worth something if you have a college degree and you wear a white shirt and you sit in an air-conditioned office. They automatically think everybody who actually makes things and builds things, unless they're things like, Elon Musk, are not quite as good as they are. That's just the way they are. Yeah, Goldstream. You've got a lot of oil up there. You've got a lot of precious minerals and a lot of resources up in Canada. We have a lot here in America that we can't touch right now. Yeah. Roberts, when it comes to old Hillary, they're making noises. And on that note, I have done an unprecedented 28 political surveys in the last 4 days. All of them coming from the left side of the spectrum, by the way. I have seen some crazy rhetoric, and I have seen push-pull surveys like I have never seen in my life. We're talking like today, they were saying, well, one of the questions that came from it put forth that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Representative Gosar of Arizona recently attended a white supremacist pro-Putin rally. I believe that was called CPAC. Not sure. But anyway, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's going around out there. And yes, I have gotten no less than 4 surveys in the last 4 days with different commercials with, of all people, Hillary Clinton. They're floating there trying to find a female presidential candidate at the moment. And they're floating Hillary. They're floating Michelle. They're floating Kamala, which I rather doubt that's going to get anywhere because we all hate Kamala. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw that talk she gave for kindergartners this past week. You know, the one, Ukraine is a country in Europe, and it's next door to a country called Russia, which is a bigger country. And Russia attacked Ukraine, and that's wrong. Something along those lines. It was definitely a surreal moment, even for Kamala, But yeah, I've gotten no less than 4 surveys that have floated the idea of Hillary Clinton as a presidential candidate. And you can only imagine my reaction to that one. If they had a laughing emoji symbol, if they had emojis in surveys, oh, they would have gotten a blizzard of emojis, that they just would have gotten a blizzard of emojis at that point. But yeah, the surveys are speaking of a lot of desperation on the side of the left because they've lost control of their COVID narrative, and they're trying to get a cohesive narrative going when it comes to Ukraine, but things keep going a little bit awry with that. I have no position on what is going on in Ukraine other than how our government's reaction to all this is going to screw our lives even worse than they're already screwed at the moment, because heaven knows they're trying. They're trying very hard at this point, you know. I mean, that's just the way they are. I think he's actually asleep down there, Kodak. I mean, I do believe that that the bear is actually asleep at the moment. But yeah, they're actually floating the concept that Hillary may come out of retirement. She may crawl out of whatever coffin she's been hibernating in and get on the campaign trail again. And it's like, okay, so going into the Democrat primary, we all know the Democrat primary is always rigged. They rig it openly. It's designed that way. So my question here is, if we've got Lord Malarkey and Lady Heels Up in one corner, and Hillary and some other random female, I actually got a survey that said a generic Democrat black female for vice president on it. It's like, okay, you know, Hillary Clinton plus a generic black Democrat vice president. Maybe they're going to ask Oprah. I don't know. I hope not. Whoopi. They could ask Whoopi. Whoopi and Hillary would make a great pair. But if you had Malarkey and Heels Up in this corner, and you had Hillary and a generic black Democrat candidate in this corner, who do you think the super PAC donors and the super delegates are going to go with? This is a real puzzler to me, because I can't see their super delegates liking either candidate at this point. The super delegates are not that stupid, and they're also not that ideologically inclined. I mean, yeah, they threw Bernie under the bus, but Bernie didn't care because they paid him off. Bernie got paid off. So he happily allowed himself to be thrown under the bus. He happily denounced the whole process, said it was rigged, and then went and endorsed Hillary anyway. But I'm wondering how this would shake out, because either way, they don't have any other good candidates in the wings. They don't have anybody. Tulsi isn't going to run under their banner. She might. If she does, it will just prove she's as much of a sellout as any other Democrat, even though she spoke at CPAC. But they don't have anybody. So who are they going to put up there? That's the question at this point. Who are they going to put up? The other question at this point is, will Joe Biden get 25th the day after the midterms? Because if they take him out the day before the midterms, then old Heels Up can only get 8 years. If they take him out the day after the midterms and put Heels Up in there, then she can get 10 years. So that is the question. I mean, that is the real question here at this point. But at the moment, all I'm doing is crossing my fingers, all of them, and a few toes, and hoping that Putin hasn't made a backdoor deal regarding an alternate world default currency based on the precious metals behind everybody's back that we don't know about. He is smart enough to pull it off. Because the thing is, I absolutely want a sound money standard. I really do. I want to bring the U.S. back to the gold standard and the silver standard. I do not want digital currency in the hands of the federal government, or any other government for that matter. I mean, let's face it, they're all bad. But if it comes about in this way, if it comes about coming from Putin, no matter what happens now, it's going to be seen as a declaration of war. Even if he pulled out of the Ukraine, even if he pulled out of everything, they have decided that he has to go. So anything he does from now on is going to be a declaration of war. I mean, and the funniest part about that is Scarborough was on the Babble box, saying that the whole situation was laughable because if everything he does is a declaration of war, then if Putin is saying that everything we do is a declaration of war, then nothing is a declaration of war. Well, if nothing's a declaration of war, then that means Putin isn't making war on anybody. So the logic is kind of missing in there, but what else would you expect from a freaking leftist, I mean, easy, Llewellyn. I am sure that Chris and everybody else will be sending links to you. Get in touch with everybody. If you feel comfortable giving people your email address, ask them for a way to contact them that way. And yeah, I'm missing his hand signals too. So just a few other headlines here that would probably get me kicked off of YouTube, as we all know. Though I'm surprised that mentions of generic black vice presidents didn't get that. But it would not surprise me at this point either. If you happen to look up Zero Hedge, you might want to read the article about carnage everywhere as the market begins to break. You notice we had an 800-point loss in the market today, but mining stocks went up about 2%. Despite rising fuel costs, despite rising energy costs, mining stocks went up about 2%. Something interesting to watch there. Yeah, Kodak, when he starts moving again. And one of China's largest banks was unable to pay a margin call after today's monster nickel squeeze. And energy stocks have a huge upside as they catch up with oil. Russia weaponizes energy and warns it could cut off European gas supplies via Nord Stream 1. Which is quite interesting. And there are a few other articles. And of course, U.S. gas prices just smashed to the all-time record high. There's one small corner of California where they went over $7 a gallon already. They'll probably be up. Yeah, Gulfstream. As a matter of fact, we were discussing that the other day on Wall Street Silver on Reddit. The fact that this is just about the way World War II started. Of course, World War II actually started at the end of World War I. When the Treaty of Versailles was signed, one of the big wigs that was around at the time said, this was not a peace treaty. This is a 20-year armistice at best. He said it was a crappy idea because it was. The way it was structured was a crappy idea. And look what happened. Well, now we have an even worse situation because, realistically speaking here, the original deal when NATO became a thing long ago was that NATO would be confined only to the countries that are already in it. It wasn't going to invite other countries. It wasn't going to encroach any further to the east. Nothing else weird was going to go on there. NATO was just going to be that little group of countries that already started as NATO. And, that promise got broken now, didn't it? Because now they're inviting all kinds of other countries. And NATO was specifically set up to combat communism in the Soviet Union. Now, the Soviet Union is long since gone. The Berlin Wall is gone. All that stuff is gone. And Putin is no more a communist than I am. That man is most definitely a capitalist of some variety or another. In fact, I suspect he might even be an anarcho-capitalist, as in anything goes capitalist. He's not a commie. And more importantly, somebody pointed out a long time ago that if you take a look at Putin through the years, Putin likes two great Russian historical figures, and they ain't Lenin and Marx. They're Peter and Catherine. Now, if you take a look at the Russia of the time of Peter the Great, the Russia of the time of Catherine the Great, you have a Russia that had this nice little buffer zone of neutral countries between it and Europe, the way it had now until NATO started inviting those other countries to join. And there was trade and economic mobility back and forth between Europe and Russia. Yeah, Russia was pretty much feudalist in a lot of ways, but it was also very capitalist. There was an exchange of intelligence. There was an exchange of knowledge. There was an exchange of cosmopolitan ideas that happened during Peter the Great and during Catherine the Great, when Russia was getting westernized in a Russian way. And they had nice, friendly market relations going on. NATO, I should say, not us, NATO started with a specific set of rules. And they were a very good set of rules at the time. NATO has now decided that they want to stray off and depart from said rules. You don't change the rules in the name of the game and expect nobody to get annoyed at you, especially not when that rule change could screw up their lives. Because bear in mind, if you take a look at Russian history, Europe has attacked Russia quite a few times. Russia hasn't attacked Europe very often. Now, I don't have a dog in this fight on either side, so to speak. What I am looking at is this fight doesn't make sense. And no, it's not because Putin has gone insane all of a sudden. That man's about as insane as no. If he's insane, I'm an orangutan. He's not insane. He does not have COVID brain fog, okay? He's doing a Putin thing. It's a very, very bad Putin thing as far as I'm concerned. But the things we are doing in reaction to this whole situation do not make sense. If you actually want to impose an economic sanction, you need to impose one that's actually going to hurt somebody. If you're going to kick the banks out of the SWIFT system, you can't leave the biggest banks in there just because you happen to know or be related to people that are working for those banks. And there is some deep rabbit holes in that direction. You can't just say, well, we're going to refuse to buy all of your products except A, B, C, and D. Because first of all, that puts you in a position where the other guy can completely screw you if they want to by saying, oh, in other words, you need A, B, C, and D that badly? Okay, then I'm not giving them to you. I'm taking my toys and going home. And at this point, no matter what the dude does, even if he packed everything up and went back to Russia and went back to Moscow tomorrow and said, okay, I'm building a wall on my border and everything outside that wall, my Great Wall of Russia, I'm not even going to associate with. Nobody's going to let him do that now. And that's the thing, is we are now in a position where we might actually have a world war on our hands, which would kind of suck because I told Professor Hardrock when Lord Malarkey was running for office, and I said he was going to get elected. I said, Professor Hardrock said, well, we could end up with a civil war. And I said, no, that's not the problem. The problem is we are going to end up with a world war if that man gets in office. Oh, well, here we are. I mean, that's just that's just the way that goes, I mean, all war is about banks and all war is about resources. That is just the way it is. War is based on banks and resources. Now, who has resources here? Ukraine's resources are a pittance compared to Russia's. Who's got the banking control? Well, Russia made sure that there were no Rothschilds in their country, but that's an entirely separate story. He's now been cut out of the banking system. So, what is the purpose of this war? And that is something that nobody is really looking at, and something that I, not being a diplomat or a politician, don't spend my time looking at either. I mean, it is looking to be a very, very bad situation. Because between Ukraine and Russia, we're looking at 30% of the world's wheat exports. Between Ukraine, Russia, and 4 other countries, we're looking at almost 80% of the world's chemical fertilizers, which are, guess what, needed very shortly here in the United States to start putting crops in the ground. The wheat futures have pretty much gone vertical. The corn futures are going vertical. Seed has gone vertical of all kinds when people can get delivery windows at all. And the UN is talking about how more or less developed nations, they're looking at 300 million people facing starvation or severe food insecurity for this coming year. They're not even looking at the developed nations. They never do. I'm looking at the developed nations because I live in one. And yeah, it's not going to be a good year. It is not going to be a good year at all. So we really, 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 really need to make sure that we have our preps in order. Somebody had said earlier, 6 months worth of food. My grandmother said, the jar you put up the day you get pregnant should be the jar you're opening the day you give birth. She kept a 9-month pantry. She had a reason. And more of us need to make sure that our friends and family understand this. And our friends and family need to understand the importance of developing a parallel economy. This is something else we've been discussing more lately in various places online. Everybody says, well, why should I buy silver when I can't spend it anywhere? Oh, hell, you can. You can buy a half cow with it from some people. You can buy a full cow. You can get a mechanic to fix your car. We need to develop a parallel economy because we now have a banking system that is creating a change shortage and no longer keeps cash reserves in banks other than what the bank claims it needs, which is a minimal amount, because otherwise the Federal Reserve gives them a whole passel of trouble. Because they're trying to move us toward, I said, well, why silver? And I said, because silver and gold are instruments of wealth. They are tangible wealth. They hold tangible wealth. They have the same purchasing power now that they had 50 years ago, 60 years ago, which is more than you can say for a US dollar or a Canadian one or anybody else's paper money. Whereas paper money and your digital currency as designed by the Fed, they're a sign of debt. According to our debt clock, the amazing debt clock, our personal share of the debt in this country right now for the federal government. Let's see what you owe here. Unfunded debts and interest. Personal debt per citizen at the moment is $64,317. You start out life with this number. And believe you me, if they thought they could get away with taking your physical assets like Chile wants to nationalize mines, if they thought they could get away with nationalizing your business or taking your property or taking your land so that they could say, well, the dollar is backed. Oh, you bet your butt they would. Bet your little buttons they would, because these people are just ridiculous. I mean, that's just the way they are. But the thing is, we need to work on our parallel economy. It is time to be talking to your neighbors and your friends and seeing about bartering stuff you know how to do for stuff they know how to do instead of paying cash money. Seeing about paying for things with silver and gold. Buy a truck with a couple of gold pieces or whatever. Get people understanding that there is a functional and fundamental difference between fiat currency and actual wealth, actual money, constitutional money, not papers. Papers are not constitutional things. Because people need to start investing. People need to start making sure that their preps include a good skill set, a skill set that will be useful in the greater world, not just Google foo, okay? And include a diversified portfolio of real assets, as in consumable commodities, durable commodities like silver, gold, precious metals, copper, zinc, nickel, things of that nature. And also, yeah, keep a pile of fiat. People recognize the faces on the pieces of paper and they like them. They have intrinsic faith in them. They have more faith that this paper is actually worth something than a lot of people have in God these days. And that's really scary. When you have that amount of faith on something that has no backing whatsoever, that's really, really scary, you know? But yeah, and also digital. I mean, the past week I have been really kicking butt on my reward programs. I've racked up $30 in Amazon gift cards that I'm going to be spending on useful stuff. And Bear is going to be spending it on mining stuff, and we'll be getting reimbursed cash, and then we can buy silver with the cash. You know, I've racked up $30 or $40 in Amazon gift cards. I've also racked up some free Litoshi and some free Satoshi, and I'm working on getting some free Ethereum. I've started, piling up a little bit of crypto again because crypto prices are way down right now. Crypto took a little bit of a nosedive again. The time to pick this stuff up from reward apps where you're getting it in return for your time. I do surveys and get paid Satoshi and Litoshi. The time to pick those up is when the price is down because then they give you more of them and then later they're worth more. That's the time I picked them up. So when I took a look at the crypto prices and I saw what was going on with the crypto prices, I was like, hey, yeah. I am not sure how much it is, Roberts. I haven't had a chance to look at that lately, but I'm intending to find a way to get some of it myself. I'm gonna put the Brave browser on my computer, on the laptop. I'm looking at trying to see if I can put the Brave browser on the phone. I have not figured out yet whether this is even possible. But I'm planning on starting to pick up some of that myself. And I don't even know whether it's on my Coinbase account. Coinbase has like 300 freaking currencies on it. I have no idea what they all are. But I do know every time they send me a video that says watch this 1 minute video and take this 3-question quiz and we'll give you $3 worth of whatever, I grab it. I spend 1 minute, I get $3 of whatever, it sits there in my account and I forget about it. Some of it's worth more than it was when I started. Some of it was worth less, but oh well, The time to pick up these things, if you can pick them up cheap or free, is, I would think it's probably something like a Brave something token, Robert, would be my guess as to what BAT stands for. But that's the time to pick them up. Yeah, basic attention token. Okay. I mean, the time to pick them up is when they happen to be down, because you can get more then. I mean, if the value of something is in the toilet at the moment, I grab it. If Coinbase handles it, if Coinbase carries it, and I can store it on my Coinbase, I grab it. And I let it sit on my Coinbase. Sooner or later, it may be worth something. And I do see a use for blockchain technology. I don't necessarily agree with it as money because I like money that is actually backed by a physical, tangible something. money has a different meaning than currency. Money is a hard asset. It is a tangible hard asset and a store of wealth. Currency can be a store of wealth, but it can also be a debt instrument, which is what we're stuck with now. I see Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, the rest of them as currency. I do not see them as money. They do have a place. Blockchain technology has a place. It is an amazing technology, a great thing for smart contracts, a great thing for all kinds of stuff. But the thought of a government fed coin and the government moving us to digital currency because, the current coin shortage, or it's no longer green to mint money, it's not green to mint coins, whatever excuse they use to completely, go away from the Constitution entirely, that I don't see as a good use. Okay? There's a good use for other stuff, Yes, US dollar is a store of diminishing wealth at this point. Inflation is a stealth tax, and it is a stealth tax that has a disproportionate effect on the lower end of the income scale. That's the way it's always been, But anyway, since he is fast asleep over here, and I have run out of stuff to rant about on the tinfoil hat report, I am going to wake him up and go get myself something to drink and go to the bathroom. And then if you guys have any mining questions, you can talk to him about those. Bear, you've slept through my tinfoil hat report. Why don't you sit up on your hands a little bit to talk to your people while I go to the bathroom and get a drink? I have been ranting at them. And once again, for the record, we have no idea why this war is actually happening, because this war does not make sense in terms of what wars are for. Bye-bye. I will be right back, people.
It's a distraction.
Well, yeah, it's a distraction.
You screwed up the entire world and are responsible for uncountable dead people. You need something big to cover up the distraction.
I think everybody was helping the dude from Mexico, Easy Lauren.
It didn't scroll off the screen before I got to it yet. Thanks, Chris.
Jake stopped in. Don't know if he's still there.
Yeah.
He sent prayers. Melinda sent prayers. Everybody sending prayers.
Thank you, everybody. Oh.
Yeah, for some unaccountable reason, they're all praying for you.
Oh.
I mean, I don't get it. You're only losing a zombie ball. It's not anything important.
Yeah. Anyhow. Well, I think I better call it a night here. I go stream. So.
No food after midnight.
Good point. I got 4 hours.
Yeah, you got 4 hours to stuff your face.
Thank you, Keith. Okay. Well, I'm going to call it a night.
Good night, everybody. Things will be normal again next week. For all you newcomers, things will be normal next week.
Happy prospecting and keep it safe out there.